everyone, it's Meg and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my first book haul of 2020. I did actually film what was supposed to be my last book haul of 2019 in December, but I didn't end up posting it in time and I have got more books since then, so I thought I might as well just film my first haul of 2020 and include the books that I bought this year so far and also the books that I bought in 2019, towards the end of 2019. I have around 22 books here, which wasn't my plan, but to be fair, these books, I haven't done a haul in ages, and these books, some of the first books in this haul I purchased back in September, so this is maybe a good 5-6 months since I've done a book haul, and these are all the books that I've basically accumulated in that time. So I've got lots to share with you guys, and I have read quite a few of these, so I'm not going to talk about them too much because I will leave the link to my recent reads playlist in the description so you guys can hear more of my thoughts on them. But yeah, a very big book haul that I was not planning, but without further ado, let's get into the video. So first, I've done this in categories to try and make it a little bit easier, and hopefully I can fly through them a bit faster. So first up, I have a book that was a gift for me for Christmas, and that is Emma and I by Sheila Hocken, I think is how you pronounce her name. And my aunt gave me this and she read it and she said she bawled her eyes out at it, so she thought I would like it, and I honestly don't really know what it's about. I think it's a memoir about this woman and she has a dog named Emma, and that is all I know about it. And even though I love my animals, I never really pick up books like this that have like a pet in it or kind of memoirs around animals, so I will definitely pick it up at some point because obviously I want to try and whittle my TBR down as much as possible, but I don't know, I'm interested to see what she thinks, and I trust her, my aunt's opinion, because she used to be a librarian and she reads a lot, so I trust her opinion, so hopefully I will really enjoy this as well. Next up, we have two poetry books, and that is Poems to Live Your Life By and Poems to Fall in Love With, which are both chosen and illustrated by Chris Riddell. Back in September, I went to go and see Chris Riddell do a talk, and if you don't know who he is a UK children's illustrator and author, and he created these beautiful books which are absolutely stunning. And he basically chose the poems from all different sorts of poets and he illustrated them, and they are really cool. I love his illustrations. I've read both of these already and they're just some absolutely wonderful illustrations, even though I can't find a good one, but they are stunning. And I got to meet him and I got both of these signed as well, which is lovely. And me and my sister grew up reading his Otterline books, which I believe he wrote unillustrated, so we really enjoyed it. So it was wonderful to have an evening with him. It was really enjoyable and he's just such a lovely person, so I'm really glad that I managed to pick these up and to meet him. And he is meant to come out with a third book in this kind of series, so I'm definitely going to be getting that once it comes out at some point. Next up, we have the books that I received in subscription boxes, and the first one I have is The Places I Cried in Public by Holly Bourne. This book will have been in hopefully my most recent reads. It's at my recent reads 6 or 7. I'm gonna have another one going up fairly soon, but I really enjoyed this book. It really surprised me in the best ways possible. I loved this book. Holly is an author I really want to read more of because I want to read more UKYA this year, and I absolutely adored this, and it covers so many important topics. Obviously it deals with toxic relationships, and I feel like it's a very important book that a lot of young people and teenagers should read, so definitely enjoyed this. And like with the majority of the books that I've read on here, you will be able to watch my recent reads videos to find out more of my thoughts on it. Next up, we have Under a Dancing Star by Laura Wood, and I got this in a Book Box Club box, which is the July one, and I bought it off their shop a bit late because they had some spare, and I do already own a copy of this. If you watched my last book haul, which was like a very long time ago, you will know that I already have this book, I've already read it, I already love it. It is one of my favourite books of all time and I will never shut up about it. And I do, to a certain extent, want to keep hold of a second copy, but then again I'm running out of shelf space, so I think I am going to give this away to somebody who I feel like will enjoy it and cherish it as much as I do. Next up we have Heartstream by Tom Pollock, and this again is a book from BookBox Club, and I personally have no interest in reading this. I think it's kind of like a thriller, like a YA mystery thriller, and it's to do with kind of technology and this app, and thrillers just aren't my thing. I'm an absolute chicken. I will not read anything even remotely scary, so again I am going to unhaul this. Even though it looks really interesting and it is a signed copy, I'm going to be giving this away and unhauling it because I have no interest in reading it, and I much prefer that it went to somebody who is going to enjoy it than it's sitting on my shelves gathering dust. Next up we have an ARC, and that is Diary of a Confused Feminist by Kate Weston, and this is one of the first books I read of 2020, absolutely adored it. And again, like this book and the next book, majority of these are from BookBox Club. This is from the December box because they included some ARCs, and I absolutely love this book. Again, go and watch my recent reads video to find out my thoughts on it because I go a lot more into depth about this book, and I just absolutely adored it. I annotated it fully and I really want to get a finished copy, so I definitely have to do that. But I love this book with all of my heart. It's one of my favourite reads of the year, and I can't wait to see what else Kate is going to come out with in the future because I really enjoyed it. And the final subscription box book we have is Dangerous Alliance by Jerniki Cohen. I think that's how you say her name. I haven't read this yet. I would like to pick it up fairly soon. It is a ostentatious romance, and I feel like I got the description for it very wrong in a video, an unboxing video that I did, because I think I kind of struggled to learn about the concept. But it's about like marriage and securing your their future and their finances, and it's the main character loves Jane Austen and she tries to use the things from Jane Austen's books to kind of help her sort her life out, or something along those lines. I don't know, probably really wrong. But I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I'm always looking for kind of Jane Austen-esque retellings or ostentatious reads, so hopefully when I pick this up very soon I'm going to enjoy it. Next up we have some books that I've either ordered online or I bought from the bookshop, and the first one that I have is All the Things We Never Said by Yasmin Raham. And this is a book that has intrigued me for a while. It came out last year. It deals with mental health and specifically these characters who meet online and create a suicide pact on a website. And that's kind of all I know about it, but it seems really intriguing and I want to read more mental health books this year. And I'm going to save this for Mental Health-a-thon, which is in May, because I can actually take part this year, because I didn't realise Mental Health-a-thon existed until halfway through last May. So like, I'm doing it properly this year and I'm saving this book, so hopefully I am going to really enjoy it, and I have a feeling it has a little bit of a thriller aspect in it as well, so slightly out of my comfort zone, but I'm 100% ready to give it a go and see what I think. Next up we have With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Azevedo, and you guys should know how much I love Elizabeth. Poetex is one of my favourite books of all time, and I have read With the Fire on High and I really enjoyed it. I do prefer the Poetex more, but I'm really looking forward to Elizabeth's latest book, which comes out in May, I believe, which is another book written in verse. But this was a really lovely story about kind of coming of age and being a teen mum, which is something I've never read about before. And yes, it's just lovely. The cover is gorgeous and I cannot wait to read Elizabeth's next book when it comes out in the spring. Next up we have another book that is also a fairly recent read, and that is All About Mia by Lisa Williamson. I've read The Art of Being Normal by Lisa when it came out in like 2016 or something along those lines, and they have recently done new covers for her books, and this book was only in hardback and now it's in paperback, and I really enjoyed this book. I missed how much. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I need to talk about it in a recent reads, but I really enjoyed it. Lisa's writing is so easy to follow along. I read this so quickly, and she writes very relatable and important stories, and it was just such a joy to read, and you get so connected to the characters. So I really enjoyed this book, and I cannot wait to see what Lisa comes out with next, because I know she's got another book that is coming out this year, I think. Next up we have The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, and this is another book that I've read recently, and I did enjoy it, but I think it's the cause of why I'm currently in a reading slump, which is very annoying. But this is a book written in verse, and I've only read one book, obviously Poet X, but this is a different format, and basically this deals with drag culture, which is something that I'm very interested in. You guys should know how much I love drag, and I feel like it's a very wonderful and important story that a lot of people will be able to relate to. I didn't relate to it as much, which is probably why I didn't connect with it as much and why I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, but it's still a very enjoyable and important read, and I would still definitely recommend it. Next up we have probably my most anticipated release of the year, and that is The 24-Hour Cafe by Libby Page. This is the book that I'm currently reading, and for some reason I decided to pick it up during a reading slump, and which wasn't a clever idea, so it's taken me at least 2 weeks at the moment to read this book, and usually that's not too bad, but it's because I've been reading faster more recently, so like, your girl needs to hurry up and finish it. But I am still really enjoying it, and this is basically like a slice of life. It's about a cafe, and it takes course over 24 hours, so you get to know the customers that come in and the staff and kind of their hopes and dreams, how they want more outside of the cafe, and I'm really enjoying it. I am finding it relatable, and I'm looking forward to finishing it and talking to you guys more about it in a recent reads video, hopefully coming fairly soon. And then we have two graphic novels. So the first one is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, and Faith Erin Hicks, and this was a really cute read. I read this for the Gilmore Girl Readathon and I really enjoyed it. The art style is lovely, and it's just a really cute autumnal romance. Again, I've talked about this in a recent reads video, but I really enjoyed this book. There's not much of a plot line, but it is really cute, as always with Rainbow's stories, and I'm looking forward to seeing if she comes out with any more graphic novels in the future, because it was definitely enjoyable and a nice quick and easy read if you are looking for something along those lines. And then the last graphic novel is another one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that is Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. I only finished this last weekend because it was released last week, so I loved this so much. Obviously I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, like the rest of the volumes. It's just such a wonderful, cute story, and in this edition specifically, it does deal with more serious and slightly darker topics such as mental health, and I love how there's more of a serious twist on this story, because obviously it's about two boys falling in love for the first time, which is absolutely adorable, and you get so attached to them. They're like these perfect, precious little beings that you want to protect, but it's nice kind of seeing them get to know each other on a more deeper level and talk about more serious topics, which I absolutely loved. So yes, I love this so much, and it's like the perfect read and another one of my favourite reads so far, and I will definitely talk about it more again in another recent reads video. And the last section I have is charity shop books or secondhand books, and the first one that I have is The Cozy Tea Shop in the Castle by Caroline Roberts. And this was a book I picked up on a whim. I found it in a charity shop. The cover looked cute, I read the back, it was interesting, so I decided to get it. And I don't know much about it, apart from the fact that it's about our main character Ellie, and she learns her dream job running a cafe in a castle. And I feel like there's quite a few people against the idea of this cafe succeeding, but she kind of wins them over, and it just seems like a really cute story about chasing your dreams. I'm sure there'll be romance in here at some point, and there's even recipes at the back, which is very exciting, so I will have to try those at some point. But yeah, I'm just really into these kind of like cute contemporary follow your dreams sort of contemporary adult romances, so I'm looking forward to giving it a go and seeing what I think. Next up we have Miss You by Katie Eberlen. I think that is how you say it. The writing is way too fancy on here. This is another book, like an adult contemporary, and it's like Love Rosie and One Day in December. It's one of those ones that takes place over a good few years. I think this is at least 10 years, 18 years, quite a long time. So obviously these characters meet when they're 18 and kind of their paths kind of keep crossing throughout the years, and that is literally all I know about this book. So I do enjoy these sort of stories, especially if they kind of have a bit more of a hard-hitting element, so I'm looking forward to picking it up at some point and seeing what I think. Talking of One Day in December, I also have One Day in December by Josie Silver. I read this during Bookmas last year and I really enjoyed this book. Again, I have already talked about it, but this book takes the place over 10 years, and even though it's cute because it's a romance, it also is a lot more hard-hitting than you think, and I also found it a very relatable story, a lot more than I thought, which I also really enjoyed. And even though it has December in the title, most of the story takes place throughout the whole year, not just at Christmas time. So it's definitely a book that you can read any time of the year, not just Christmas. But I really enjoyed this book, and definitely recommend if you are looking for an adult contemporary romance. 100% recommend. Very good read. Next up I have Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith, and this is a book I've already read. I read my mum's copy when I first discovered the story because it was turned into a musical a few years ago. So I saw the musical, I really enjoyed it, and then I read the book, and then I watched the film. I feel like the book is my favourite alongside the musical. But film is least favourite, but I wanted to get my own copy because I really want to reread it at some point this year, and I've been very picky about the cover, but I got the cover that I want. And this is about a girl named Cassandra who lives with her family in a crumbling castle. Her father is a writer who has not written a novel in 12 years, and one day these Americans move in next door, and the story just goes off from there. And I've talked about this book before on my channel. It is one of my favourite books of all time. I really want to reread it at some point because it is such a joy, and I love the characters, I love Cassandra, and it's just really wonderful, so I cannot wait to reread it at some point this year. Next up we have The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery by Gabriella Zevin, and again another book I already read, the first book that I actually read in 2020, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book and I did really enjoy it. Personally, I didn't find anything super remarkable about it, but I love the characters and how it is a story about stories, and I can see the charm and how much people love it and can connect with it, but personally it just didn't have that special spark that could give it 5 stars or make it one of my favourite reads of the year. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless, and I'm glad to add it to my collection. Second to last book on this list, and we have True Love at the Lonely Hearts Bookshop by Annie Darling. And this is an adult contemporary romance which is just such a joy. I read this last year and I bought it on a whim again. It just seemed interesting. It's about a girl named Verity, and she's very much an introvert and she works in a bookshop, and then she kind of does the whole fake dating thing. And I'm not a fan of fake dating, but I did enjoy it in this, and probably because I enjoyed the character so much, and it's just so funny. I could really relate to Verity, and it's just such a feel-good, fun read, and it makes you smile when you read it. So again, definitely recommend if you're looking for a new adult contemporary romance, because this is just wonderful. And the final book that I have in this haul is Winter Girls by Laurie Hals Anderson. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. This is a book I've wanted to read for ages, and I found a copy because my colleague's daughters brought some books into a little shelf we have at the back of the shop, and I picked it up and I really want to read it. I'm going to save this again for the mental health-a-thon because obviously this book deals with eating disorders, and I've never read a book dealing with eating disorders before, so I'm really looking forward to reading and educating myself more on it, as it's something that I don't know a lot about. I'm just really looking forward to reading this, and I really hope I enjoy it as much as everybody else has been enjoying it, because I know that a lot of people love and relate to this book. So there you have it guys, that is my book haul. I feel like I went through that fairly quickly, which is good. so hopefully I didn't ramble for too long. But like I said, I have read a lot of these books, so I will leave links to my recent reads playlist so you can watch all the videos where I talk about these books, because it is better than me just making a really long video whilst hauling them. But I thought I'd share them with you, and hopefully I'm not going to have another book haul for a very long time, because I'm trying to be on a book buying ban, because like I don't buy that many books anyway, but like you know, like a girl still needs to save her money. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books and your thoughts on them. I would love to know as always. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave the links to my social media along with the links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!